Very good morning to one and all. This is Dr. P. Lavanya, working as Associate Professor in MBA Department in MBA Department in Institute of Aeronautical Engineering, Dundigal. So today we are analyzing the question bank. This question bank related to the analytical questions of market structures and the pricing decisions. So in these we have one question saying that classify the differentiations between the perfect competition and also the monopoly. So as we know, these perfect competition, as in case of the market structures, there are the two types. One is perfect and imperfect markets. So perfect market will get in a perfect competition, and where in case of imperfect market situation, we are having different structures, maybe like monopoly, monopolistic and another. So here, based upon the market structure differentiation, we can differentiate both the differences between the perfect competition and also the monopolistic competition. As we can say, those represents both opposite ends of a same spectrum. So we can identify or classify the major differences between these perfect competition and also the monopoly. So the first differentiations where we can say it is as number of sellers. So in the perfect competition, there are the many small firms where they have a number of buyers and sellers will be there producing the identical product. But in case of monopolistic market, where we can identify only one producer or the one person who dominates the entire market. And when you comes under the restricted barriers of the competitive markets, where in case of perfect competition, there is no significant barriers for entry of the new firms or maybe for exit of the firms. But when you comes under the monopoly, often this monopoly itself was exposed to the very high barriers relating to the entry. Why? Because the barriers maybe includes like the factors of access of resources, maybe the government or the legal restrictions or startup cost, or maybe the new competitors enter into the market. Means there are the very high or the strict barriers consolidated to the monopolistic competition. Next, product differentiation. So when you comes under the perfect competition, the products whatever they produce in the perfect competition are homogeneous and identical. Firms produce the identical goods or services without any sort of differentiation. Means all products looks alike. So when you comes under the monopoly, there is typically no close substitutes for the product, and monopoly has to ability to set the price. Means it is in a unique product and only one producer will be there. So there doesn't exist any sort of close substitutes. Only the monopolistic will set his own price. Next, price setting. Perfect competition is determined by the market forces, which we'll call like demand and supply. So individual firms cannot set the price or cannot influence the market prices. But when you comes under the monopoly, as he is a single producer and total power was concentrated with him, and he sets his own price because he is the sole producer in the market, and he is usually higher than perfect competition. Means the price will be more when we compare with the perfect competition. Next, control over the supply. So in case of perfect competition, the firms having no control over the market supply. Each firm is a part of the total market supply. So when you consider the monopoly, so they have a complete control as in a single producer. So he is having a complete control over the market supply and allow them to influence the prices and outputs. Next comes under the profit maximization. In case of perfect competition, where the competitor aims to maximize his profit, where their marginal cost is equal to the marginal revenue. But when you comes under the monopolistic, where he himself maximizes the profit, where the marginal cost equal to the marginal revenue, but a little bit higher price is set than the marginal cost. In case of elasticity of demand, so the perfect competition, the demand curve from each firm is perfectly elastic, as they can sell any quantity at any prevailing market prices. Means here the demand curve will have inelasticity, where all the producer has to sell the goods what the price has been marketing ruling. Monopoly faces the downward sloping of demand curve, because as only the suppliers in the market, and they lowers the price if they sells more. Next, allocative efficiency. So perfect competitions where resources are allocated efficiently, because production is at the point where the price equal to the marginal cost. Means effective allocation of the resources in the production where the prices and the marginal cost will be equal. But when you comes under the monopoly, as it results in allocative the inefficiency, since price is higher and quantity is lower, then we would occur under perfect competition. Means where we can identify that allocate the resources in inefficiency, means sometimes they doesn't want to utilize the resources effectively, as organization is getting more amounts of profits. So in this ways we can understand and analyze the differences which we comes according to this price, influencing the price, output levels and overall economic efficiency. Where perfect competition and monopoly represents two opposite or the extreme situations of a case in the real world, where we can see some more differences or more types of differences exhibiting their characteristics of both. Next, I'll state how can a competitor attain equilibrium position during short run and long run period. So the attainment of the equilibrium position of the competitor relating to the short run and long run, we can analyze by involving the different considerations in the context of business competition. So every business or every organizations is very much important to attain the equilibrium position. So in order to involve the different considerations, we'll explore some competitors where they attain the equilibrium in terms of frames. So first we'll see that short run equilibrium, where adjusting the product level. So in case of short run equilibrium, where the time factor is a limited one and the time period is very less. So here we should adjust the production levels based upon the current demand. So this involves in optimizing the output based upon the existing marketing conditions and consumer preferences. Means where we can adjust the production level based upon the what amount of the output we produced and demand and analysis of the consumer has been given preferences. But when it comes under the price adjustments in case of short run, where we can see that temporary adjustments we can identify which may match or response to the change in the demand or cost structure. However, competitors need to consider how these adjustments will gives more impact upon the profitability and also the market share of the organization. Next, cost cutting measures. So in the short run, when you want to earn more amount of the profit, organization must and should implement the cost cutting, or to attain the competition from the competitor, we should ensure that some measures to be enhanced in case of profitability. This could include that optimizing the resource allocation and renegotiating the contract or streamlining the operations. Next one as marketing strategies. In the short run, the marketing strategies, the promotions are targeted like advertisement campaigns and can be employed to boost the sales and the market presence quickly. So these strategies aims the market to capture immediate consumer attention and also increases the demand. Next, inventory management. So efficient management of inventory levels helps to avoid overstock or stockouts. So competitor can fine tune their inventory strategies to align with the short-term market fluctuations. So these are some of the considerations or illustrating how the factors for attaining the short-run equilibrium. Now we come across some of the factors which are helpful in order to attain the equilibrium in case of long period of time. So in the long period where the time is more and where we can able to change the any factor of production. So in this case, we'll see what factors will influences the long run equilibrium. The first factor relating to it is capacity adjustments. So in case of long run equilibrium where we involves in more fundamental adjustment such as modification of production capacities, competitors may also expand according to their facilities and they also having some divert towards non-profitability assets to achieve the balanced production structure. Means in the long run where competitors and we are having lot of time for capacity adjustment and in order to give the balanced production to the market. Next, another one we should consider factor is like technological investment. So long run success always depends upon the required investment in case of new technologies. Adopting more efficient and innovative technologies enhance the production and it leads to the reduction of cost and contribution to the competitive advantage. Means these advanced technology investment will enhance the overall efficiency in the production and also reduces the cost and contributes the advantages in case of competitive structure. Next, market diversification. Expanding in the long run where we can adjust all factors of production, we can expand our product to the new market or diversify the product or services in the long-term strategy. So this allows the competitors to tap into the additional revenue streams and also reduces the dependency on single market or the product. Next, brand building. So building of a brand is a strong component of long run which creates the loyalty for the customers and also their trust. So competitors can invest in brand strategies where that renovate their target audience and also make the sustainable market position. Next factor relates to these long run equilibrium is sustainable practices. In the long run where there is a sufficient period and we is to have a good brand sustainable in the future. So we can contribute for cost saving techniques, enhancing the reputation and involves in giving for consumer preference and taste. Due to the time adjustment factor, we are able to modify the other important features where it includes like environment friendly operations and also the social responsible initiatives. Next, strategic partnership and alliances. Forming the strategic partnerships or alliances with other businesses which enhances the competitive advantage in case of the long run. This enable for the collaborating in case of research, development and also distributing the market efforts. And another important factor in case of long run is adhering the regulatory compliances. So adhering to and staying ahead of the regulatory requirements, it is crucial for long-term stability. Competitors should anticipate and adapt to change in industrial regulations in order to avoid disrupt or legal challenges. Means the regulatory compliances should be considered in order to anticipate or to forecast and adopt the changes in the industrial regulations and in order to face the legal challenges. So by taking the consideration of the above factors, maybe relating to the short-term requirements and also the long-term adjustments where it is related to the current marketing conditions. While the structural adjustment will enhance the sustained competitiveness or competitor need to balance the short-term responsiveness with the long-term vision and also adaptivity of the thrift in a dynamic business environment. Means by consisting these short-term and long-run equilibrium where we can enhance, sustain our competitiveness and increase our production and brings our brand and the competitive strategies in the dynamic business environment. And the next we can say that critically examine the price and output relations in oligopoly market. So as we know that oligopoly is one of the important market structure in case of imperfect markets, where oligopoly itself reads with a few sellers. A market structure consisting of very few sellers, we'll call it as an oligopoly market. So we'll see the various price and output relation in this market. As we know that oligopoly itself is a complex and dynamic phenomena that involves in strategic interaction among small number of firms dominating in the market. Means very few firms will be there who will be dominate in the market. So these oligopoly could be characterized by having very few large firms, and each firm will influence the market in its pricing and output decisions. Means every firm itself will influences based upon its pricing and output decision, and only few firms will be there in the market who will control overall the product. And these price and output dynamics in this oligopoly could be examined from the various perspectives. So we'll see what are the importance of these price and output relations in case of oligopoly. So here, interdependence of the firms. So oligopoly firms are interdependent, while in the measuring of their action for one firm, significantly it will impact the other. Means one will impact the price or the strategies with the another firm. So this interdependence arises from the small number of competitors and recognizing that each firm decisions will be affect the competitor's profile. Maybe there are very less producers or the less people to compete, but one's decision is interdependent with another, such that every firms will have an impact or the influence upon the decision of the competitor's profit. And in oligopoly, where we has to consider that how their pricing and output decisions will be matched, countered by the competitors. This leads to the strategic behavior where firms anticipate and react to the act of their rivalries. And in the oligopoly market, where we are able to identify relating to the collusion versus the competition. So oligopolistic firms can either compete or collude. Means collusion involves the firms to cooperate to maximize the joint profits. Means when one firm will compete or collide the price with another firm, as both the firms are offering at the same price, then they are able to capture more amount of the market segment, such that this cooperation will lead to maximize and share their joint profits. So this often leads to the coordinated the price and output decisions. Means this will analyzes that how the firms will come together and coordinate relating to the output decisions. So on the other hand, competitor firms involves relating to the independently making decisions to maximize their individual profits. Means when you want to maximize our individual profits, here the competitor's decision is more important. So along with this collusion behavior of this oligopoly, where this collusion results in the higher prices and lower output, where it comparing for the competitive scenario. So these representations of collusion leads to the price stability of output, and the firm aims to maintain the agreed upon the marketing conditions. Means based upon this collusion, higher prices were charged, and based upon that, output relationship between the different firms will enhances and agreed for the a stable price in the market. Next, price rigidity and sticky prices. So oligopoly market exhibits the price rigidity where price do not change frequently. This is due to the strategic interaction among the firms and a desire to avoid the price war. So the price rigidity where the prices will be fixed or sticky, because in order to avoid, why? Because very few firms will be left over in the market. So those few firms doesn't want to go for the war between one and another. So to avoid that, the prices will be strict and contributed to the stable price and output relation. And for this you'll have in a game theory which is used often a model for strategic interaction among oligopolist firms. The pioneers of this game model was Dilemma and Nash, where the equilibrium is commonly applied concept. So in this theory, there the firms face the dilemma whether to cooperate with one another or in order to setting in a high price, or they want to yield better collectivity outcomes. But individual firms have an incentive to deviate lower price for higher individual gains. Means here the game theory itself will identify that maybe some goes for coordinating manner in order to go or in order to have the better collective outcome. But individual firms sometimes incentively deviate. In case of setting the lower price, they deviate for one for other. Next, barriers to enter and the market concentration. Oligopoly is often having high barriers in order to contribute or concentrate the market structure. So the concentration of this market structure regarding the few firms where they have a lot of impact upon the price and output relationship, where the firms has a greater control over the market conditions. Product differentiation to gain the competitive advantage. So differentiated product can affect the price elasticity of the demand for each firm, where they influences the prices and output decisions. So along with that, you are having some regulatory reasons relating to these oligopoly markets, where the regulations and antitrust policies has been exhibited. So the government regulations and antitrust policies can influence the behavior of oligopolistic firms. In case of regulatory action, where they aim at preventing the collusion, promotes the competitors, or ensures the competitors' welfare by influencing the price and output relationship. Means as oligopoly itself is consisting of very few sellers, so the government will interfere through regulatory framework, and it will also provide some sort of policies in order to regulate the behavior of these oligopolistic firms. So this regulatory mechanism is mainly to remove or to prevent the pollution and to promote the competitive and ensures the welfares which will influences the price and output relations. So with these we can come to the conclusion saying that oligopoly market structures, where we have been identified the price and output relations in the oligopoly, where it is shaped by the strategic consideration and market structures. Means oligopoly itself will have a shaped by interdependence of the firms. Means one firm may be related to the price and other activity, one will be dependent upon the another. So interdependence will be there, and market structure characteristics. So relating to this, game theory and model strategic behavior, which provides the insight to the complex and the dynamics of the pricing and output decisions. Means the different types of models which are provided in the oligopoly market relating to the price and output decisions will provide a complex dynamics price features. So in these we can understand that oligopoly market, it is in a dynamic and also crucial for policy makers and businesses, and we analysts seeks to navigate the regulatory such as markets. So in this way we can analyze the oligopolistic markets in the present situation and how it has been interesting the market in a very perfect manner. Thank you.
Like, share and subscribe. Hit the bell icon for more updates.